Shannon Sharpe interviewed Kamala Harris yesterday, and it was a remarkable interview in terms of secondhand embarrassment for Shannon Sharpe. Like, really? Really? First of all, you're gonna show up in that super tight suit. In that super tight suit to interview the Vice President of the United States, all the way down. It was like he was wearing a onesie, basically. The man showed up to interview Kamala Harris in a onesie. I just want you to understand the mentality of men and how we've been programmed into our own femininity. Just think this through. Shannon Sharpe's like, yeah, we're going to interview the president, the vice president. She want to be president today. What can I put on to show off my body to this woman? I just want you to think, who has that mentality? If they go back to their factory settings, if their mindset is proper, who shows up to a meeting, a man and a woman, which one of them should be most concerned about showing off their body? I'm not saying this because I'm fat. I'm not saying this because I would look ridiculous in that onesie that Shannon Sharpe showed up wearing to interview the president. I'm talking about a mentality of men versus women. We used to live in a time, and Shannon Sharpe has lived long enough to remember this, where women would be so concerned about their appearance and making sure they impress that man that they would show up in the skin-tight outfit, in the short skirt. They would show up trying to entice that man. But because we've been programmed and brainwashed into being feminine, Kamala Harris showed up in some sort of pants, business suit, covered up, and Shannon Sharpe came in an outfit trying to let this woman see everything that he has. Every package that he had was on display. He showed up with his cleavage out. His shirt was unbuttoned, pants so tight that he didn't even, everything exposed. This is what I'm talking about when I say reigning men, and they don't even realize how they've been feminized. It's not just the hairdos and going to the beauty salon to get your hair done. It's in your style of dress. When I see all these dudes running around in their skinny jeans, showing their butts off. It's like, don't you realize what's been done to you? When I see these dudes with their pants hanging off their rear end, don't you realize what's been done to you? You've been made into a woman. You have a woman's mentality. It's reigning men. What side do you want to be on? I want to play you some clips of Shannon Sharpe and Kamala Harris, and just how stupid this conversation was. And my God, did Shannon Sharpe get dragged in the comments. And Shannon Sharpe looks so feminine, dressed, again, tight clothes like a woman, cleavage out like a woman. She's dressed in, the roles have been reversed. He's pandering for her attention. He's, amazing. I want to play one more, and I'm sorry. I've just, this whole thing's got me so fired up. And it's so, what a time to be alive. It's just to see the scales coming off people's eyes, to be able to have the freedom to have this conversation and expose, and to have them so desperate. And we're watching the collapse of the left in real time. And I'm sorry, I'm starting to get super optimistic about where this country's headed and where the mentality of men is headed. I honestly feel like we're about to reestablish control. And the Zesties can line up with these women and they can go sit in the corner somewhere and go to the beauty salon and get their hair done. They can go get their fingernails painted. They can go pick out earrings together. They can go pick out tight clothes to wear together and leave the real work. I hope this Kamala Harris thing is going so poorly that the whole Yas Queen, thank God for Black matriarch, the whole thing is collapsing. And we can move beyond it and never look back. Never look back at these liberal women that want to be men and think that they should be in charge. That hopefully we've seen what that leads to. And we can now move on and move into normalcy. And I don't think it's just going to be men. I think a lot of women are following in behind us. And Black women too. I think those numbers are going to surprise people. Did you know that 17 Christians are killed for their faith every day in Nigeria? Join us and make a difference to help save lives. Visit equippingthepersecuted.org now to start your monthly donation, which will help create sustainable hope and take action to help protect an orphan or care for a widow. The lies can't stand forever. Jeff Bezos, I believe, nailed it when he said, reality is undefeated. I'm giving up on these promises that have been made that, the matrix and this system we've designed on the internet, we're going to create a whole new world. People have taken the red pill and spit the blue pill out. They went too far with the kids and the whole drag queen story hour. They've just gone too far with the lies, the obvious lies. They got men competing with girls in sports. Did Shannon Sharpe, and I watched the whole interview, I didn't hear him bring that up to Kamala Harris. Here's an athlete who's been going to WNBA games. Why not challenge Kamala Harris on that? Hey, what are we doing here? You seen these volleyball teams that won't play San Jose State? Where are you at on that, Kamala? I'm an athlete. This is an issue I can understand. I shouldn't be out here competing with girls in sports. I'm Shannon Sharpe. I have the mentality of a woman, but I have the physical makeup of a man. I shouldn't be competing with women in sports. He should understand that. Didn't get asked because he's pandering and worshiping to a woman. He's one of these reigning men that finally real men are standing up and say, I'm done with that. Let's move on. Have I milked this cow? Do you guys want to? There was one other thing that stuck out to me in this, and it's my pet issue. They played the Central Park 5 card during this interview, and it pissed me off. And so I'm being a little bit selfish here. I want to move on. I want to bring Sid Rosenberg on. I done ran through TJ and Butter. I was going to talk with them about it, but I don't want to hear from them. So let me play this one last clip of Kamala and Shannon Sharpe talking about the Central Park 5.
In addition to all of that, we're looking at Donald Trump, basically somebody who has never been understanding of the issues that affect the community about disparities. And I'm going to talk, for example, about how when he was a landlord, he denied rent to Black families. Mm-hmm. You look at what he did in terms of taking out a full-page ad in the New York Times against the Central Park 5, that's correct, which were a bunch of, they're not young adults, they were teenagers, Black and brown teenagers. Took out a full-page ad in the New York Times calling for their execution for crimes they did not commit. They were innocent. Donald Trump, who said of the first Black president of the United States, the birtherism, mm-hmm, to have people question whether he was born in the United States, to try and diminish. And then most recently, you look in this very election, legal black immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, saying they're eating their pets. So part of what we have to help people understand is don't think you're in Donald Trump's club. You're not.
Right.
He's not going to be thinking about you. You think he's having you over for dinner? You think that when he's with his buddies, his billionaire buddies, he's thinking about what we need to do to deal with addressing, for example, my work around what I'm doing to address disparities in black men's health, around colon cancer, around what we need to do around screenings, what we need to do around prostate cancer. Black men are twice as likely to have, and screenings.
Yeah. Kamala Harris, when she's not at home servicing her white Jewish husband, all of her time is spent thinking about health disparities for black men and what she's going to do about it. I mean, she's just lobbing Shannon softball after softball, and he ain't hitting none of them. He's just sitting there nodding, yeah. What you think of this tight suit I got on? Like my cleavage? Seriously, this is, she's dressed in a professional way, like a man, like she's there for business. This man's got his balls hanging out in these tight pants and a onesie. Like what you saw? Hit that like button, subscribe, and check out the full episode by clicking the link below.